Kevin Garnett going into the Hall of Fame today. Said in his press conference he wishes he came to Boston sooner. And he said stuff like this before, but I always wondered, is Garnett going to make his Timberwolves experience more central to his Hall of Fame entry, or is it he's going to go in as a Celtic? And it's pretty clear, especially with some of the ownership beef that he's had with Minnesota in recent years.
He's going to be, what's his name though?
He's going to be remembered as a Celtic.
Well,
he loved
Flip. I went
crazy
Flip
for Saunders, but again, I still think slap to the face almost a little bit to have A-Rod owning that team now over Kevin Garnett. Which
what did Magic say to him? Magic had I just saw the headline. I'm not going to be one of those guys who's like giving the news based on headlines, but I guess Magic had words for A-Rod owning an NBA team. I'll have to look it up. It just come across I usually don't click it.
Yeah, the point that Bobby was making though, it for KG, it's just like, seriously, I've been trying to own this damn team forever and a day, and now you want to sell it?
Why is that they just don't? And then they haven't retired his number yet. I mean, like, why is there such beef there?
I don't get it, because I mean, he's the most iconic player your organization has ever had. He is far and away the best thing that could have ever happened to your organization. And you would think that they would treat him with a little bit more respect and a little bit more admiration and adulation than they do. And if I'm Kevin Garnett, and I'm absolutely flipping them the middle finger as I go into the Hall of Fame. Well, they've earned that.
He wanted to be around that team shortly after his career ended. He obviously played his last seasons there, and then
something had to happen besides what we know, basically.
Something just stinks there. I know we opened the show. I know we opened the show talking about it, but just how Towns' early career is gone, the fact that they've been one of the worst teams in the league with that kind of talent, adding Russell within the last year, they still just continue to flounder at the bottom, and they're going to get another top pick this year. So you're going to have Towns, you're going to have Russell, you're going to have Edwards, and then another. Unless that pick ends up going to Golden State, if they fall out of that top four, they're going to have another top-end talent coming in here. So the fact that Garnett was in position out there to be a mentor to some of these young guys, Towns especially, and now they've just cast him away, it's a terrible look, and it doesn't give the fan base much hope, I would think.
It doesn't make sense.
No, it really doesn't. I'm curious to see what efforts, if any, are the Celtics trying to make to get KG in the mix here. I'm
sure they are.
I don't know what specifically they want to do, but I would basically say, Kevin, tell me what the hell you want to do with us, and we're going to do that.
And we'll give you equity.
Exactly. How much do we need to break off for you, ownership-wise, to make you feel good? How much influence
do it?
Right.
Could you see them doing that?
Do you need to have inside the locker room, on the bench, in the front office? Do you want? Because he's that good. He's that big a difference maker.
You know it, Sherrod. He enters the building. You could not even be in the same part of the arena as him, but you know he's there. It's like Larry Bird. When Bird would come back once in every 10 years, you'd know he was there. KG, would they do it, Bobby? I think they would, but I don't know. I mean, like, you think Wick is only owns a fraction of that team, really. When you look at it, he's a majority owner, but there's a million owners, I would say. Right? There's a bunch of owners. There's an ownership group. So they would have to come to a consensus. But why not? Your stock is going to go up immediately if you bring Kevin Garnett. He's an asset. He's a line item on ESPN social media marketing expenses. He's that powerful with his words, what he says. He's a game changer.
And if you're a free agent and let's say the Celtics aren't offering you top dollar compared to some other teams, but you know that Kevin Garnett is part of that organization.
Well, that's key too, because then he doesn't have to be in Boston all year long, like if he was an assistant coach or something.
Or being a consultant. Be a consultant. That's the best job, because that means you can be as hands-on as you want to be, but everyone will know that you have a role, that you have a place with the organization. And that's what you want.
So I will say that, excuse me one second. I will say this, and I don't feel bad saying it with you guys. I know Jimmy and John were on, I get killed, but the Lakers have done a good job of keeping their alumni involved in the team, right? And you see it. There's a lot of camaraderie there. And I think that's a product of the fact that the Lakers legends are like Bird and Max and McHale's age, right? But the Celtics are all dying because they're 50s and 60s, 1950s, 1960s. I think nothing would be better for this franchise than to bring back guys like Pierce, Perk, KG. I'm not saying bring them back and make
Ray
it all about them. Ray Allen would be a problem. Have you looked at? I'll refrain.
That'd be a problem.
Yeah. Do you follow him on Instagram, Sherrod?
I used to.
You should. Okay, so So anyway, his stories are like, but anyway, back to what I was saying. I wouldn't want them to be on posters in a showcase, but I think that mentality is what, if Brad could get some people in there with that mentality, it's fixed because it's an intangible problem, right? We know there's a talent problem, but still they should have been way better than they were this year, given the talent they do have on the starting side of the roster. So, mentality is intangible. You can't teach it. It's got to be a culture, even though I'm told there's no such thing as culture.
Well, this is what I gauge, and even just listening to Tatum on that podcast yesterday and listening to him and Brown all year, you open the show talking about selfishness. I don't sense it from them. I really don't. Well, especially when I hear Tatum talk, I hear a desire to learn, to grow,
wow, I hear
to
that
figure
totally
this
different.
out. Really? Because
I hear I from Tatum. I think Brown is more of a we. I hear Tatum it's always nice to hear people talk like that about me, right? There's not much of the us and the we, and it doesn't mean I'm right. It's just my observation, Bobby.
No,
You're looking at it differently.
No. Like I hear that, but I hear it coming from a place of I got to get better to figure this out. I got to work on my passing. I got to do this. I got to do that. It's a mentality that he can figure this out, which is honestly how he's played this year. Like, I'm just going to do a ton of stuff to try to fix this, and it hasn't worked. And that's what he's going to have to learn, is that you got to empower the others around you, and you got to make people better around you.
You got to make people confident.
That's right. And that's where he has fallen short this year, to be honest with you. The inability to empower, strengthen, uplift, make the guys around him better. He doesn't do that enough. And that, to me, is what's going to take him to that next level, not only as a player, but as a leader. Tatum is the talent with this dude is unquestioned. There's absolutely when you start looking at just the mile markers that he's hitting as a Celtic. I mean, he's damn near the first to do this, that, and the other damn near every other month of the season. He's the first Celtic to do some awesome, amazing scoring feat or shooting feat or something like that. He's been that incredible as an individual player. But when he makes that leap to making guys better, that's when he becomes a superstar. And he's not there yet. And I think he will get there, but I don't have a feel for whether that's going to be quick or not. And when you talk about Jalen is a grinder. I mean, you look at just the way he's one of the unusually high draft picks who is, frankly, his DNA is more about the grind than the glory. And that's, again, I think that is such an amazing quality for someone so young in the game who is very accomplished. When you talk about being an all-star, you talk about, conference finals 3 out of 4 years. That is the kind of stuff that if you are talking about building your core, you want that as a big chunk of your core. Now, should he be the face of the franchise? Probably not, because his grind is hard and the grind of those around him, not even close. But they need to take a little bit of Jalen and inject that into their system, because he is what you want for the role players, for the bench guys, for the guys for the Luke Cornett's who are the 15th man one day starting the next. You want to be like Jalen, and that is take advantage of your opportunities and play hard, play with a grind. Jalen does not play with an edge. He plays with a grind, and there is a difference. I think about our conversation with Max about just, he's not getting in anyone's face like that. That's not what he does. But I do think at some point you need to get someone in the building who does. You need a Kendrick Perkins type. You need a Ben Wallace type.
I thought Thompson was going to be that.
Right. You need someone that has a physical presence about them, that if things start getting a little squirrely in the game, you got that one guy that is going to regulate. And it shouldn't be Marcus Smart. Marcus does, I think, as good a job as you can expect from a point guard / shooting guard.
Role player's position, right?
Yeah, but you need someone where that toughness is part of their strong DNA. Like when you talk about Kendrick Perkins, you don't think about scoring. You don't think about rebounding. You think about toughness and defense.
Yep.
That's what he does, and he did that at a fairly high level when he was in the league. You need to have guys with that type of ilk about them on your roster, and they don't have that now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, it's the same story over and over and over, right? We keep saying it, the same exact thing. That is exactly what it is. I mean, they need a Draymond Green. They don't need him, but they need a tough guy. They need a bastard. They need a Marcus Smart, but maybe Marcus has run his course a little. I don't know, but they do. They need that toughness, and I don't know if Tatum or Brown ever have it. I think Brown more has it in his DNA than Tatum does. I just happen to like Tatum is a finesse player. I love Tatum's game. I don't love his mentality, you know. But I am a Tatum guy. Like I would trade Brown over Tatum probably for Beal if that was. I sound like Goodman, but really, like if it was that. And then the other thing about Goodman is, Bobby, not to your point, but against your point is. Early on, I don't know who the player was. I think it was an Atlanta Hawk because we were right around the Hawks. And that anonymous NBA player told Goodman, no one in the league fears those guys because they don't make their teammates better. Remember?
No, and it was a valid point.
I'd never seen anybody, and I'll steal this from Max, I'd never seen anybody score more hollow points than Tatum. And dole out more hollow assists. Like at the end of the game, when I want to look at the box score and I see he had 6-7 assists, I'm like, where? When did that happen? You know, because he's just, I don't know. I don't know how else to say it. They're just points that just happen but don't make impact unless they're 60 and you're coming back from 40 down.